Alright, hopefully you are watching this because you've already completed these Quizziz problems and you want to check your answers, or because you submitted them on the Quizziz using that link right there and you want to figure out why you got certain ones wrong. If you have not completed these yet, please do not watch me. If you really want to truly do well in the final and you want to study for the final, it is really important that you try these right now on your own before watching these answers. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So just like the other one, x plus 5 over 2 equals k, but I know k is 7, so we plug 7 in for that. Multiply both sides by 2. We get x plus 5 equals 14. Subtract both sides by 5, and we get x equals 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Alright, on to the next one. Again, it's that two-part problem here, so we first need to find what m equals, so that way we can do what the problem is actually asking for. So, just like above, get rid of that division first. We get 3m equals 24. Divide both sides by 3. And we get m equals 8. But again, this wasn't asking for m. This was asking for what is 2m plus 1. So we're going to take that 8 and plug it in. And we get 16 plus 1, so we get 17. Ooh, two answers are 17. Alright. If you got any of them wrong, hopefully you use this workspace. If you got them wrong, go ahead and correct it and write the right work over here. It's important to correct your mistakes, figure out what you did wrong, so that way it helps you not do it again next time. Alright, the next one, again, it's that one on with the fraction in front, so we get rid of the fraction by multiplying both sides by that denominator. I'm doing this quickly because I gave like a larger rundown in the We Do problems. This is so you can mainly just double check the work and find the answer. So we multiply both sides by the denominator. We get 3 times 3x minus 5 equals 12. We distribute that 3 to both things inside. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. We add 15 to both sides. We get 9x equals 27. Divide both sides by 9, and x equals 3. Woohoo! A minute per problem. We're moving quickly. Alright, again, just like with these ones, if you need a second to get down the answer, pause me, please, and correct the work. That is going to be super important. Okay, next one, none, one, or infinite solutions. So let's go ahead and see. Distribute that 3 and we get 12x plus 9 is 12x minus 6. Some of you might know the answer already. We subtract 12x from both sides to get them together. They end up both canceling and we get 9 equals negative 6. 9 does not equal negative 6. They are two different numbers, so we're going to say no solution. Okay, on to the next one. What would make this have infinite solutions? So again, the same number on both sides. So right now we have 2 times 3x, which gives me that 6x. So now I need to know what will give me 8. Again, it is not just 8, because remember that 2 is going to be distributed to it. So the 8 would give me 16 there. So 8 is no good. We say 2 times what gives me 8? 2 times 4. So my answer is 4. Again, because 2 times what is going to give me that 8 that we have on the other side. Alright, we're rocking and rolling. I think we got the inequality and then the word problem. Cool. We'll have plenty of time for the one on the very bottom of this page. For the inequality, just like the first one, we're going to start with distributing. 2 times negative 5x is negative 10x. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 6x is less than 54. From here we can combine the things that have x's in them. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4x, plus 14 is less than 54. Get rid of that 14 first because that's the thing being added. Negative 4x is less than 5. 4 minus 4 is 0. 5 minus 1 is 4. And then now we can divide both sides by that negative 4. So we get x, and then we get negative 10 over here. Again, just like last time, we did this really important thing here of dividing by a negative. So we need to flip our sign. So instead of being a less than sign, we're going to make it a greater than sign. All right. Rockin' and rollin'. Next story problem here. This broke it up into two in the quizzes if you did it there. The first one was asking for the equation, and the next part was actually you solving. So at a recent fundraiser, a charity had already raised $500 before the fundraiser started. They then began to raise $40 per person until they had exactly $2,620 at the end of the fundraiser. How many hours did the fundraiser last? So again, we started with 500. Then on top of that, they're getting 40 per hour. So that means 40 times each hour that's happening. So we're going to say 40H. Again, that phrase per tells you it's being multiplied. So 40 times H. If the fundraiser was happening for 1 hour, that would have been $40. If it was 2 hours, it'd be 80. And it's exactly 2,620. That phrase exactly tells us that's the equals. All right, so there is our equation. I'm going to write that a little bit cleaner. And now we solve. Now we want to know how many hours did it last, so how many H. So we're going to start by subtracting 500 on both sides. And we get 40H equals 0, 2, 1, 2. And then now we divide this by 40. And we get H equals, I'm going to use a calculator because I am not going to do that in my head or show the work currently. 2120 divided by 40. And you get 53. So that means the fundraiser lasted for 53 hours. All right. If any of these are not making sense, please, please, please reach out to me. I have no problem helping or re-explaining something. Okay, the last problem we have is a pretty complex problem, and it looks pretty scary, but I promise you it's not too bad. We have Max was comparing two different vacation options. A company called Beaches charges $300 a night, $300 for a plane ticket, plus $130 for every day of the trip. Another company called Fiesta charges $550 for a flight, and then $250 for the first 2 days, and then $100 for every day after that. Max wanted to find out how many days it would take before the Beaches vacation plan would cost the same as the Fiesta vacation plan. So he set up and solved the following equation where x represents the number of days on vacation. So this requires you to not create the equation or anything. Max has already set up the equation to try and figure out how many days they would need to go on vacation for it not to matter what company they choose. But Max has made a mistake here. Max's sister was planning a similar trip but got a different number for X. So he believes he has made a mistake. Examine the work. So work through these step by step and figure out where he made a mistake and explain what mistake he made. And then I want you to try resolving this. So go ahead, if you haven't done so already, pause me and see if you can walk through this and figure out where exactly he made the mistake and try and write it out and then try and solve it. If you look at it for a few minutes and you're very confused and you're like, I have no idea, come back and we'll work through it together. But pause me first and give it a try. Alright, so let's see if we can figure out where Mr. Max made a mistake. So, very big equation. I think the thing we need to remember is that there's a few things we do when we're solving equations. We first need to simplify either side, so check to see if we can distribute, check to see if we can combine like terms. So is there anything on the left side we can put together to make it easier? Is there anything on the right side we can put together to make it easier? And then we'll solve for x. Okay, so right away, starting at step 1, there's nothing I can do to this left side here. That's as simplified as it gets. But the right side has a whole bunch of stuff. So I know that I can do a couple things here. I can combine these two numbers because they're just regular numbers. So 550 plus 250 is 800. So he combined those correct, so that's good. The next thing here is we have a number outside of our parentheses, so we can distribute. 100 times x is 100x minus 100 times 2 is 200. So he distributed that right. So we're good here and we're good here. Now let's look at the next one. So again, he kept this side the same, 300 plus 130x, 300 plus 130x. So that checks out. Let's look at the other side. So the other side, we again have a number here, and then another number that both don't have x's. So those are like terms, they're constants, neither of them have variables, so we can combine those guys. So we can say 800 minus 200 does give us that 600, and then the 100x is still there. So that step checks out. So far everything's correct. Okay, here's where things get complicated. I know we struggle with variables on both sides. Okay, so there's no other simplifying we can do. 300 and 130x, that's already simplified. 600 plus 100x, again, we can't combine those. This one doesn't have an x, this one does. There's nothing else to combine, there's no distributing. So now we need to get our x to one side. So remember, we always want to do that by moving our smaller number. 100 is smaller than 130, so we can subtract 130x from both sides, or 100x from both sides. And now that 100x goes away, and we have 300, and then 130 minus 100 is 30x, and then we have 600 left over. So we're good here. He did that math right. Okay, on to the next step. Now we have 300 plus 30x equals 600. Okay, regular two-step equation. Okay, if we had 2x plus 4 equals 8, we would start by subtracting 4 on both sides. Remember, we always want to get rid of the thing being added or subtracted first, so we would move the 300. It's a positive 300, so we would subtract it on both sides. Aha! So that's where he went wrong. He added 300. 600 plus 300 gives you 900 instead of subtracting. But we were supposed to subtract because this 300 was positive. If that said negative 300, then we would have added 300 to both sides. But because my 300 is positive, that means we subtract. So this is where he went wrong. So I'm going to say, in what step was a mistake made? He made a mistake in step 4. He added 300 to both sides instead of subtracting. Okay, and then the last thing is to do the work by yourself and fix the mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and just start where he made the mistake. If he made the mistake higher up, then you would want to start higher up. Subtract 300, subtract 300, 3x equals 300. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals 100. I know I did that really quick, but there is the value for x. Again, if I found the mistake like up here, I would have started up there instead. All right, let me know if you need anything.